So you're thinking about moving to Florida or having your domicile in Florida. We just went through it. We learned a lot of things we wish we knew in the beginning. There's a lot of steps that you think you might need that you might not. We wasted some money getting some notarized things that we didn't need to do. So hopefully in this video we can get you to the point where you're more comfortable and you don't have to do some of those things that we did.
So first, you'll want to navigate to the Florida Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles website. There you will find everything you need to know to get your driver's license, to register your vehicles. For your driver's license, all the documentation you need, like your current driver's license, social security card, and then 2 forms of to prove your residency, like bills and whatnot. And then to register your vehicles, you need to fill out a specific form, and it is for every vehicle you bring. So we brought a truck and a camper, so we had to fill out one form for one form for the truck, one form for the camper, and that is HSMV form 82040. And we wish we knew before we filled out the form, before we got a notary, before everything, we wish we would have watched this fantastic video done by the Hillsborough County Tax Collector's Office, which is Hillsborough County is here in Florida. And they literally walk you step by step. And that's where we learned we didn't need to have our RV, the VIN, verified. So we had a notary come out here and verify the truck and the camper. That's where we spent a little extra money that we really didn't need to. So make sure you watch that YouTube video. I will have it linked, but it is a great resource because it literally, step by step, what you need to fill out, what you don't need to fill out.
So the county we are domiciled in is the county that my family lives in. We're using their address. Thanks a lot for them. They helped a lot with that. But it's a different county that we're living in because I'm working in a different area of Florida from them. So being separate counties, what you'll run into when you start looking at the tax assessors' websites or calling them, they say technically you can go to any tax assessor in the state of Florida, but a lot of them are limiting who can come, and most of them's just residents of the county. So for us, we ended up driving down because we called around or whatever and ended up driving down to the county that our address is in to get our driver's license and then work through that because the counties around us weren't processing people who weren't residents of that county. That's where we ran into getting the notary to come out and look at our VIN on our camper because everything we'd seen, and when you call around, you needed the VIN verified. Until we watched the video up from the Hillsborough County, Florida, that explained that you do not need RVs to be VIN verified, but we needed it verified. We're living in our camper. We weren't going to pull it down for a day to basically get it verified. So just keep that in mind. Your vehicles, you don't actually have to take them. The verification's pretty easy. We had ours done at the Department of Motor Vehicles. They will do VIN verification. Just call ahead and work through that. Or you can have the notary, or you can drive them. So even if you have 2 vehicles, 1 vehicle, whatever, we had 1. You can drive that to whichever tax collector's office you are registering the vehicle in, and they can come out and verify the VIN. They must have some sort of control to help with some scam or something where they actually verify the VIN on every vehicle before it can be registered. So that's just something from the Midwest, Iowa, Illinois, Minnesota, we weren't used to. You just register, they just on your honor, up there. Down here they take an extra step and they want to look at that VIN plate and make sure you're registering the correct vehicle. So that's why you need that form, and that's why you need it validated. Just remember, RVs aren't needed, and makes it a lot easier when it's just vehicles.
Yeah, and also when you're reading through the form and looking through each section, that section where you need the VIN verified, it actually says like inspection, so don't let that throw you off. Like, you don't need an actual inspection of your vehicle. It is just you just need that VIN there, the VIN, that's in the windshield or in the door, wherever it's at. That just needs to be verified. So if you see inspection, don't freak. It doesn't mean you actually need like under the hood or anything. But notary, take it right to the tax collector office. Pretty easy that way. So
Florida doesn't have an actual, just like the states we're used to, they don't have an actual vehicle inspection. I'm not recommending anything unsafe, but technically if there was a crack in your light, it's not going to matter for getting the registration done. I wouldn't recommend driving around like that, but you don't have to stress that when you see the word inspection. It's just inspecting the VIN.
Because at first I'm like, we need to get our vehicles, like the RV, our truck, like what's happening?
Is it emissions testing? Is it because some states do emissions?
Yeah. So the form, and then when you do call the tax collector's office, like he said, they're like, yeah, you need everything, and all the VINs verified, this, and this. But for whatever reason, you don't. And that YouTube video, great resource.
The other thing that was not a big deal, it turns out, but something to overcome a little bit if you're used to Minnesota, Iowa, Illinois, where they actually have paper titles held by the bank or yourself, depending if it's the vehicle's owned by you or you have a lien on it. If you do have a lien and you're moving to Florida, in our case, we had to get the banks to mail the paper loan document, the actual title, the actual loan, the title saying who's the lien holders. They had to mail it down, so the bank mailed it down to us. We went to the Florida tax collector's office, went through registration, and it turns into an electronic title, and Florida holds the titles at that point instead of the banks that just note on there that it's the lien is the banks. So it's a little bit different. It's a little different to think about, not having the actual title sitting at the bank and then they mail it out to you when it's paid off. It's just all held with the state. So it's not a big deal, just something to be aware of, that if you're moving from a state with bank held titles to Florida, which is a state held title, you need to get them mailed to you to get that registration done.
Yeah, like the title is not going to physically be mailed. Like the Florida title is not going to be physically mailed back to your bank or wherever. Like, it'll stay electronic in Florida, and then your bank or wherever your loan is will just make note that Florida has the electronic title. And then, of course, if you don't have a lien, make sure you still take your title with you, because it will turn into an electronic title, which obviously we don't know what that looks like. And I think you can go online.
Yeah, so it's no matter if it's lien or standard, it's a state held title. That's the difference, is Florida's a state held title state. If you're going to sell your vehicle or something, you can get a printed title, and then it would just be for that transition, handing it over to a new buyer, and then they turn back into it's still held at the state. They just change who's on it, and the paper one you can get printed out helps with that. So it's don't worry about the lien and stuff too much. You just have to remember it's a transferring from a bank or person held titles, like from the Midwest. Florida's a state held title. So hopefully this can save you some time and maybe some money if you do like us and try to go the notary route. But if you have any questions or anything at all, comment, message us directly, whatever. We can help you try to answer anything that we've gone through or done when we did this. It just seemed like it took us extra steps trying to figure out what they were saying on the website, when it was, in the end, pretty easy.
Yeah. So don't fret. It actually is. It is a very simple process. We just wish we knew, things up front, because the form, it doesn't explain it very well, especially for the VIN part. And also, it doesn't say, you don't need your RV VIN verified. It doesn't say that anywhere. Even on the website, it doesn't say it anywhere. So having that YouTube video that we found, like, it was literally a simple Google search or YouTube search of the HSMV form 82040, and it popped up, and we literally section by section. So, but yeah, make sure you hit subscribe and give us a follow on all of our social medias, and also you can check out our website, bccampingadventures.com. Thank you.